Hey, how's it going, guys? Ancient Rune here, back with another Borderlands 4 build video, and today I will be going over my updated Tediore Amon build called Throwing Hands. This update includes a much more powerful version of this build, not relying on Force of Nature when you have good gear, but still available, as well as having tons of Tediore buffs and just more knowledge on how Tediore works. As you can see in the gameplay, these guns absolutely wreck the vault bosses and honestly have maybe become too strong. And you have no problem mobbing as well when we use certain gear choices. This build would not be possible without the insane amount of testing from Joe Furlong, and he made a Tediore Rafa build video that I will have linked in the description, as well as some other trusted Tediore builds on the other Vault Hunters. You can also find a write-up of my build on Mobalytics, so if reading is more your style, you can also go there, which will be linked in the description. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Borderlands 4 content, and consider becoming a member to support the channel and get videos early. You can also find the save file of this build in my Discord or the Mobalytics guide. Now let's get into it. Alright, so you'll see we have a lot more legendary guns than last time. This is a lot of different reasons that I was talking about before, but I first want to go over parts. So you're looking for the shooting part on most guns, mainly for bossing. This is because the shooting part multiplies your gun damage stat times 3. This is going to be your soup gun damage, like bullet train or really this, or like all your skill tree or most of your skill tree stuff. It will not multiply on shot like high caliber gun damage or enhancement gun damage. That doesn't matter. So that's why this does so much damage and why you want shooting. Also shooting replicator, but I don't have one and definitely not needed. I think it's situational on what's better, and we deal so much damage it doesn't matter. And then for mobbing, you can experiment with other stuff like homing or replicator homing on different guns. I don't have many on here, but you definitely can do that. Just because we have so much damage, we don't need the shooting big damage stuff. And you can go for ease of use. Just kind of depends. And then for the parts on the actual guns, you're always looking for the most max size, especially in bossing. This will consume a lot of ammo, but it is better than higher base damage because of how it's all multiplied. Now, in mobbing, you can go with less mag size to be more ammo efficient, and Tediores are so strong, you'll still be killing enemies that it doesn't matter you have less mag size. This just means you're more ammo efficient, and you don't have to go to different ammo boxes as much or go to a vendor as much. Now let's get into the actual guns. First, you'll see the Murmur. This was from the Halloween event that is no longer active, but it is insane. One of the best heaters in the game and better than the purple version, which is so dumb. If I compare the two, you can see that base damage difference with similar mag size. Absolutely nuts. I don't know why this happened, but it did. So Murmur's great. Now, if you don't have a Murmur, that's fine. You can go to community discords and look for some. But the purple version works fine. It's only gotten better with indirect buffs from other things. So I've used this before and it worked fine. You could also go datalist part on a lot of these, but that's what I have here. Now, I also have the Chuck, which is really good, especially for mobbing. It's very easy to use. It's not always the best, but it is easy. But also with a lot of buffs, it kills bosses very fast. Very effective, but a big thing is that it's easy. I have replicator homing with good damage, and I like it a lot. Then we have the Inscriber, which is a very dumb pistol. This came out with the brand new DLC that is free, and it does such high damage. I don't even have the best one. This is what I use in my clips. 32 max size is better than this 21 at high base damage. I just haven't gotten a good one. I've seen some, I just haven't asked for any. So I've just been using this with the shooting part. It's the best I've found, and it's already nuts. I can't wait to get a higher mag version. This is another thing where you can use the pistol, but look at that damage difference. That's almost 3 times the damage difference in base damage, and we can get a higher mag size on that than this purple. The pistol, again, still does great, but legendary here's going to be better. Then I also have the Ruby's Graph. This got 2 or 3 buffs. I think 2 buffs. It definitely didn't need it after the second buff. This was already a go-to mobbing gun, and now it can boss. Um, so yeah, this is just a good one I have with high damage and high mag. But I also had someone make this with totally legal means. Trust me, guys, definitely not edited, but technically can drop with higher mag size and the sniper dataless part for the maximum damage. And this thing melts. But in my gameplay clips, when I use the reviews, I use this one. But this is very dumb as well. It's also just different ammo, but sniper rifle gives a big damage boost, which is really nice. And then you'll notice I haven't gone over shotguns yet. That's because shotguns are bugged right now to where they aren't getting the correct buffs that they need to, so they're just not good right now. I'll put a comment and pin it when this is fixed. It is known by the devs. Hopefully it is fixed soon. And then also the anarchy, even if it was working correctly, it's really only good for funny one-shots from stacking it up beforehand. So not really a chucking gun unless you do that one hit. All right, now for the gear, first we have the triple bypass. I am mainly using this for Now with Caffeine to cycle our action skill faster, as our action skill helps us a good amount. And I have it with action skill cooldown rate. Now in bossing, you can go with Enrage, which is all damage, which is very good. But I don't need the damage, so I just stick with the cooldown rate. You'll find a lot of stuff I just do because I don't need the damage. So this could be even more optimized if I wanted to. Then for the ordnance, we are using the Slippy, as this is going to be proccing our kill skills with My Torch's Death, which will then bring up stacks of There Is Only Red for a huge bonus element that applies to our chucks, and another kill skill like Impetus, which is very nice. Then for the class mod, we have a couple options. I've been using the Shatter White, especially in bossing, but also in mobbing because of Berserk, as Berserk will apply to our chucks and also to our mobbing shield the fireworks, but I'll go over that in a little bit. So you're just looking for Berserk points, as this gives up to a 420% bonus element at 10 out of 5, which is insane. And then we also have the Furnace for Raging Inferno plus Force of Nature tech. Don't need the damage though, so not really needed. I was using Forge Master before, still really good. Mainly using it with Force of Nature stuff. You would activate your first Forge skill, you would then have Berserk active, and you would go chucking everything up, also stacking it with your Slippy. And then once you have enough good chucks with Force of Nature, you would then activate your second one. Because we don't have a good way of activating or getting like cooldown in general in our skill tree, we need the Forge Master to do that heck. But Berserk damage has led me to not really need it, but it is still an option if you have one. Then we also have the Stormcaller with the bolt action, as this bonus damage will apply to our guns, which is pretty nice. Also gets get the let out for more reload speed. You could also go Stormcaller with Lightning Rod. This is niche and just kind of fun for big shots, but possible if it hits the crit hit and your shooting part doesn't hit shoot a crit spot and proc this before your actual chuck does. And then for passives, you're just looking for good stuff like gun damage, all damage if you are using Force of Nature to get boss kills with double dip. Reload is nice for DPS, but gun damage again will help with that shooting part, which is nice. Then for the shield with mobbing, we're looking at the fireworks, as this spawns missiles on kill and goes after enemies. This will get our bonus element from Berserk because it gets some like gun effects, which is really weird, but this helps solidify getting kills, which just helps with faster mob clearing, and less chucks means less ammo used. Then for bossing, I use the Watts Her Dinner. You can use it with siphon parts if you want, but I use this for the shock bonus element that will apply to the chucks. You could also use a protein cell for max damage. I just don't need the damage. It'd be fancy kills. It also will apply to status effects. So if you're doing Raging Inferno stuff, this would definitely be used over Watts for Dinner, but it definitely is an option. Then for the enhancement, we are looking for Banger for the 50% damage increase, which is almost a pure mult only additive with get throw in ordnance damage. It doesn't make sense. I'll go over it in just a second. But we'll continue with the enhancement. Even just a purple with banger would be really good. And you're just looking for gun damage or mag size. You're kind of just evening out your gun damage boost, your on shot gun damage boost, and your mag size boost. Amon has some in skill tree mag size, which is nice. But I didn't math out, and it's not really needed. If you just don't want to worry about ammo so much, just don't even worry about mag size. But you can also get Digidivider, which is nice if you get it on a legendary. That can be better boss kills. Or you can get a recycler part with banger, and that will be just more ammo efficient. Or just even in mobbing, you could just go recycler on a purple, and that would do good. Now for the firmware, the first thing we're going to go over is bullets to spare. This gives us 20% increased mag size, which is just more damage. Then we have high caliber for increased on-shot gun damage, only additive here with the gun damage from the enhancement passive. And then I have get thrown where it says ordnance damage, but it actually busts Tediore chucks. Tediore chucks for the most part, or at least what matters on this build, are not ordnance damage, but it still gets this and is a pure mult to other bonuses besides the banger enhancement. So this is insanely good, and it was just buffed even though it didn't need to. For everything else that is not Tediore chuck, this is just soup ordnance damage. I just want to make that clear. But in mobbing, you could give up bullets to spare and get another get thrown, and then a airstrike passive to get some splash radius, which will help with mobbing and mean less mag size is just less ammo consumed. If you find you need mag size more for more damage, then you could try giving up high caliber. But that would also mean just having different gear for mobbing. I've done it in mobbing, it's fine, you just use more ammo. All right, now for our action skill choice, we are going onslaughter. This will give us a bonus element, which will apply to our chucks, as well as get movement speed, which will go into our specialization over here, bullet train, which is very nice. So that's another reason we go for it, but really just for that bonus element. Should recharge us nice for survivability, but we also go for force of nature. Now I said we don't really need it as much, but depending on how your gear is, you may need the force of nature, and it's not good. Force of nature is not good on like every boss. And keep in mind, since we're using a shooting gun for our chucks, those bullets will stack up force of nature, but those will be weak stacks. So you want to make sure you are doing multiple chucks, even if you're at 10 stacks, because you're not actually getting the strong stacks. This takes the last 10 strongest. It's not just the last 10 sources of gun damage. So getting those big hits matters. And then we go Horror Cleave. This gives a ranged attack for Force of Nature, and we can't reach Stormcutter, unfortunately. But we're going down here anyway, so it's fine. Now with the actual skill tree, first we are going here mainly for Berserk, as it's just a big thing with the bonus elements chucking. But when we're getting down there, we get some good stuff too. First, we have Impetus for the increased movement speed, which is good for Bullet Train for more gun damage for our chucks. Then we go What Burns Within. This is mainly just getting down the tree, but it does buff Onslaughter bonus element, which is really nice. Then I go 1 point in Gut Punch. Only need 1 point because it's just there for bossing. In mobbing, you don't need the extra damage, and a Slippy could probably get the kill anyways. Then we have Titanium Knuckles for the skill damage, as this will buff our Berserk damage, our Onslaughter bonus element, as well as a bonus element over here with Bolt Action, and then also buff Force of Nature, making this really good. Then I have the best defense here. This is just a dump point here. It's nice to get a little bit extra overshield since we have our Slippy, but not needed. You could just put it into Titanium Knuckles or Bulletstorm. Then we have Forged in Steel, become immune to our damage. This is nice and bossing if you make sure the activating your Forge skills like the last action you do before you chuck. It just means you're less likely to kill yourself with your own chuck. Then we have Bulletstorm here just for some extra gun damage, as this will be ×3 for bossing, so I took it over like cooldown rates or any of this other stuff. Then we go over here for Berserk, that it gives us the bonus element to our guns, as well as melee, so this does apply to Slippy, making a Slippy very strong. And you see it doing good damage in my gameplay clips, but not enough to boss on this specific build. But Berserk here gives a 30% bonus element, 60 at 10 out of 5, but when we pair it with there is only red, we are getting 210% or 420% bonus element, which is very, very high and very noticeable. So very key skill. And then we keep it up with My Touch's Death with the Slippy here, which allows us to do so much damage, especially in bossing, when you usually can't keep up your kill skills. And then we go Bloodlust to get down the tree, and then we go a couple extra points for the reload speed because it's just more DPS. Then over here, I go get the let out for the increased reload speed. And then because it's here, we go bolt action, reloading our guns all the time. And this bonus element applies to chucks, which is pretty nice. It also counts as a stack of Force of Nature proc, which is pretty cool. And then in here, we get Scorched Kairos for the increased max size. Ordnance damage here does nothing. And then I have 3 extra points that I take in the Thrill, just for some nice survivability. You could take some points into Vital Organs for crit chance, which could be nice for the Chuck. It'd be fake crit, but it's still nice. Then for the Specialization, the must-have is going to be now with Caffeine to cycle our action skill. 3 procs of this with our triple bypass will cut our action skill by 75%. Then we just let cooldown stuff do the rest. But we also have Bullet Train here, which will give us gun damage for our chucks, as well as really this is very nice for the increased damage up to 50%. And our shooting guns will stack this up, which is really nice. You'll notice it going very fast. Then we have I Am a Gun, which is more skill damage. It says action skill, but it's actually skill, which will then, we have these gun damage boost go into I Am a Gun to buff up our bonus elements. You also have the option of the best defense. If you're bossing and you have enough specialization points, you can get the best defense here. This will beat probably I Am a Gun for if we're using Force of Nature procs, just because this double dips. But for regular gameplay, without Force of Nature, I Am a Gun most likely wins, just because without double dipping, these are both additive with each other. Then the gameplay is very simple. With mobbing, you're activating your Forge skill, then you're just going around chucking, activate your action skill, throw some slippies to stack There's Only Red, and just kill enemies, and then just get chucking and kill everything. You'll have fireworks going around, getting kills as well. And that's literally like all you need here for that. If you get your Forge skill back, you could activate it for some detonations. A nice little trick I like to do is you can shoot an enemy while your action skill is active to get a Force of Nature stack, then activate your Forge skill, which will count as a detonation for get the let out here, which is helpful. But you won't have it all the time active without the Forge Master. Bossing is pretty much identical. You want to make sure to activate your rep kit if you have a damage buff as well, but you'll activate your action skill, throw slippies, and then you can activate your Forge skill, and then you can also just, now that we activate Forge skill, go up close with the chucks as well. Sometimes going at the feet can be nice, but you just gotta learn the enemy's hitboxes and just get chucking, and the boss will be dead very, very fast. If you learned something new, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Borderlands 4 content, and consider becoming a member to support the channel and get videos early. Don't forget to check out the Mobalytics build write-up in the description, as it always has the most up-to-date version of the build. This could be minor tweaks or huge reworks. You can also find the save file for this build in the Discord or in the Mobalytics guide. This build is similar to my Amon build, and with a few tweaks, you could easily run this build with this gear. Would probably be a little less powerful than this build, but that just means my do-it-all gun build is even more do-it-all. Again, don't forget to check out Joe Furlong's video, which will be linked in the description, as this wouldn't be possible without him. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.